What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another weekly update. So first I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Hope you're all having a safe and happy and healthy holiday season here in these crazy times we're living in. Just because it's Christmas doesn't mean that there weren't a ton of news stories this week. So we still got lots of stuff to cover here this week, all kinds of crazy news stories. So first up we have Toyota. They have revealed the custom Supra they were going to be building for SEMA this year, and it's the Sport Top version. So this is the Targa that they've been teasing, and now we see it fully revealed here, and it of course harkens back to the Targa Top Toyota Supras from past generations, and I think it looks great. Sadly though, this is just a SEMA show car, and they don't have any plans to build it, at least that they're revealing to us so far. Maybe someday they will, but I've kind of mentioned this in the past whenever I talked about the teaser a few weeks ago that I don't know how BMW would take it, since they have the convertible Supra is essentially the Z4, and so that might step on their toes a little bit. It'd also be more expensive to kind of do that extra version and stuff. So I'm not holding my breath for one, but it would be super awesome if they decided to return the Targa Top here for the Supra. That'd be really cool. Another thing that I'm not getting my hopes up for, even though there's a bunch of clickbait stories about it this week, is that there's a new BRZ that was spied running around. So Twitter user TakuSafe1 spied Subaru testing a camoed BRZ at Fuji Speedway. And so from the pictures here, it appears to have a small front lip and little extensions on the side skirts and the rear bumper. And some are pretending like this could be an STI version. What do you think? And it's just to get clicks. Unfortunately, we already know that Subaru has explained in great detail why they did not do a turbo BRZ. I don't think they have any plans to do a turbo BRZ. If they did, I don't think they would have completely slammed the door on the idea whenever it's constantly brought up. And if you look at these pictures of this car, there's no way this is any type of STI version because... So if you look at it, it actually doesn't even look like it could even be a BRZ TS, which is, I think, the safer bet, at least, is at the very most, this is a BRZ TS, which means, it's got a stiffer suspension for track duty and stuff like that, and otherwise it's basically the same. But even the BRZ TS got bigger brakes, and if you look at these pictures, there aren't any big Brembo brakes like even the non-TS performance package BRZs have. You don't even see that here on this. So I'm guessing that these aero pieces are just for the STI parts catalog, and they're testing them and seeing, what difference they make on the car. And I think that's probably the end of it. It's just parts catalog stuff, because they're very easy, like stick-on install things, the front lip and stuff. And so I'm pretty sure that's what this is, especially since they just revealed the new BRZ. I mean, they could potentially have a new version, right after, but I think the TS took, what was it? I think it was like 2 or 3 years before that came out after the regular BRZ. So, but they might not wait that long, but they're certainly not going to be revealing it like a month after the actual BRZ reveal. So I think that makes the most sense. And a Subaru spokesperson told The Drive that it is a test mule for the Japanese market. But yeah, either way, nothing to get excited about here, I don't think. But that's okay, because I think that the new BRZ is a fantastic upgrade already. The engine, being more powerful. It seems like they got rid of the dead zone in the middle of the RPM band there, gave it some more torque. It sounds better on the inside. I'm really excited for the new BRZ, even without a turbo STI version with 300 horsepower and all-wheel drive. I mean, I think it's going to be a really great car and stick to its original mission that it had with the original generation. So I'm not bummed about there not being an STI. But yeah, so interesting to see those pictures, though, and awesome of... this Twitter user to be able to get those pictures. But anyway, moving on, another odd little reveal here. McLaren of Beverly Hills, the dealership, this week revealed the Sabre hypercar. So strangely, McLaren hasn't said anything official about it yet, but these are official McLaren pictures, I believe. So this comes just weeks after McLaren executives, you might remember from a past weekly update, said that they're going to slow down the special editions and that they've been doing too many of them. I'm assuming they meant just after this one, because here we are a couple weeks later and there's a new special edition. So it's pretty awesome, though. It's going to be the most powerful non-hybrid McLaren with 824 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque from the twin-turbo V8 4-liter, and then top speed's 218, which is also the highest, I believe, for at least a two-seater McLaren, so that's also impressive. Only 15 will be made, and they're going to be exclusively for the U.S., and all of them are sold already. And I kind of think this might be a little bit of like a consolation prize to those in the U.S. who weren't able to get a Speedtail, since that is not available in the U.S., so they were like, well, we'll make a special one for you guys, and that's what this is, maybe. So I don't know, but It's really cool because they say that one thing was different with the Sabre here is that they allowed the buyers of the vehicle to actually participate in the car's development, and they were able to custom tailor it, not just the usual like, oh, what kind of leather do you want? Like they're actually like we're working with the engineers and everyone to really fine tune how the car drives. And they said that even they went to the lengths of McLaren sent over test mules to California for buyers to try out the test mule and give feedback before the final version, which is also really awesome. So now here we are, we have it, and there'll be 15 of them. Who knows how much they cost, but again, they're already sold to insanely rich people, and it's not really an issue anyway. So sounds like a fun process, though, to be able to actually kind of custom tailor a car with the engineer and stuff. It's pretty cool. Also, another little bit of news from California. There's a new electric car startup company called Alpha, A-L-P-H-A, so not Alfa Romeo, but Alpha Motor Corporation. They revealed their little coupe here called the Ace, which I think is a really cool name and fits the look of this little thing. I love the retro looks, the wide body fender flares and stuff. It's really cool, and it's obviously pretty small too. And so the company says it's an ideally sized personal vehicle with an electrifying soul. So it's rear-wheel drive, two-seater, all electric, of course. It weighs 3,600 pounds, and it's only 165 inches long, so a tiny little thing. They say it'll do 0 to 60 in 6 seconds and go 250 miles on a charge, but no other specs were given other than that. So nothing super fast. It's not really going to be super racy, but 6 seconds 0 to 60 is still plenty of fun, and going to be a cool little thing to roll around in, I suppose. The company says they plan to start deliveries in 2023, and it'll be joined by an SUV and other models down the road. They don't have any pricing for the Ace here, but I would hope it'd be a little more affordable since it's, pretty small little thing. And it's kind of nice to see an electric car startup company doing something that's not a pickup truck or massive SUV, since that's all the rage these days. And so I'm sure this company will also join in with that kind of stuff down the road. But I really like this little Ace. That'd be a really fun little commuter vehicle or something. Also, another really big news story this week in the electric car world. There's fresh rumors this week that Apple is developing a car once again. And so this whole new report came from Reuters, and according to their sources that are familiar with the matter, that spoke to Reuters, it's going to have self-driving tech, have breakthrough battery technology, and have a revealed target of 2024 for when it'll actually be arriving. And the battery breakthrough supposedly consists of a new battery design, and so they say that it's going to be radically reducing the battery costs and improve the range at the same time. And another source went so far as to say that the batteries are next level and said it's like the first time you saw an iPhone. So that's a pretty bold statement, Again, there's been a lot of bold statements about Apple doing a car and stuff, but supposedly one part of the report suggests that the batteries could be safer because they're going to be using lithium iron phosphate chemistry, supposedly, and which is less likely to overheat, so that's good. Building it's probably going to be a big challenge, but I think in the story one of the sources was that actually previously worked on the old car that Apple had before they killed it off. They were like, if anyone has the resources to do this, it's Apple. And I mean, how much cash they have laying around. I mean, yeah, they could build their own factory, build a charging network, build their own car from the ground up, and, it would just be a little bit of the trillions of dollars they got, stashed away. So, not a big deal there, for them, but there also is talks that they could partner up with, like, Magna Steyr or something. They previously, I guess, were in talks with them. And, regardless of what they do, I mean, hey, more competition is always better, and so if Apple can really move the ball forward on electric vehicle batteries and stuff, I think that could be a huge deal and could really help the whole industry in general. And this also kind of reminds me of the Sony car, you might remember. I was really excited about that when that was revealed back in January of this past year at CES. Sony revealed their Vision S, I think they called it, and so it's a prototype. But if you remember, that prototype actually went back to Japan this summer, and they were continuing development on it. But they said they're not going to build it, and they're just using it, like, I guess going to license some of the parts to other companies, but it's like a completed car. It had, like, Brembo brakes. Like, they completely did a car, and it looks like it's done, production ready, and then they're saying it's in development, but then they're like, oh, but we're not doing anything with it. It was all kind of sketchy and didn't make sense to me. Clearly, there's got to be something more there with the Sony car. Part of me wonders if Apple's going to partner up with them and, maybe kind of turn that into an Apple car, or maybe they'll do a partnership. Apple uses their new battery and their infotainment tech, but then they use some other bits and pieces from the Sony or something. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. But also, I would expect if Apple truly does get into the electric car world, then I guarantee that Sony car will almost certainly happen. And you can expect basically every other smartphone company you can think of to probably try and jump into the electric car field as well if it turns out to be a success for Apple especially. So we'll have to wait and see on all that. But yeah, the 2020s could really kind of turn the whole automotive industry on its head. We'll have to see how it all plays out. But interesting nonetheless. Speaking of battery developments, though, and lots of advancements here, Toyota is working on their own breakthrough, according to Nikkei. So they have a new report here, and they're saying that Toyota plans to reveal their first working prototype of a solid-state battery-powered car in 2021 here, so pretty soon, with the production version going on sale in the early 2020s. So maybe Toyota will beat Apple to the punch. I'm not sure. I don't think the Apple car is going to have solid-state batteries, but the solid state, is really promising because in the past, they're saying it was going to be more compact and energy dense, so you can have more range and less space, and it's also going to have faster charging. I think they were saying, it was going to be about 10 minutes to do a full charge, which puts you pretty close to gasoline convenience, which would be huge, and it could also be safer with the solid state batteries. So all that's very compelling, and Toyota's been doing hybrids longer than anybody, so if I feel like I have confidence Toyota could crack this before everyone else, and they also have a lot of money and the means to do something like that. So that's promising. And Toyota also, by the way, already has over 1,000 patents supposedly on solid state technology. And so it's most likely they're going to be the first to use this tech in a car. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. But yeah, so should be kind of interesting. We get some news on that next year, so that'll be cool. And in some other electric vehicle news here. So info has leaked out this past week about the Ioniq 5, which is the lifted hatchback thing based on the Hyundai 45 concept. And so Hyundai's been working on this pretty quickly. And so thanks to Hyundai's Austrian website, which quickly pulled the info down, they quickly posted up like a reservation site for the car and then took it down real quick. But the Wayback Machine site archived it, and so you can still go see the page before it was taken down. And it had a bunch of info, which was reported by Car and Driver, Autoblog, and a bunch of others that all ran with this story. So the leaked specs for this vehicle include 308 horsepower, all-wheel drive, and 0 to 62 in 5.2 seconds. And those three things alone are awesome. And then on top of that, it says it's going to have a claimed range of about 280 miles on the WLTP cycle, which is the European testing cycle, which is more forgiving. So it'll be lower here in the States. And if you compare the WLTP cycle range for the Kona EV over in Europe, it actually is a little bit higher than this vehicle. So expect this to come in a little bit lower than the Kona. The Kona here in the States is rated at 258 miles. So I would say somewhere in the maybe 230 to 250 range, something like that, for this vehicle. So the range isn't going to be stellar or anything, but basically I'm viewing this as the Honda E that the rest of the world gets that we don't get in America, that we desperately want here in America. But yet this one has all-wheel drive. That one's only front-wheel drive. This one's way faster, 308 horsepower, and a 5.2 seconds 0 to 60. So faster than the Honda E. Gonna look pretty cool in retro, hopefully just like the Honda E. It's kind of similar with that theme. And, pretty good range, like double the range of what the Honda E does. So this could be a nice gap that Hyundai is filling for us because Honda won't do it for us. I still wish that Honda E would come here to the States. It'd be so cool, even if it only has like 120 miles of range. It'd be a great little commuter. But anyway, like I said, hopefully Hyundai has the answer for us here. Also, even though the range is going to be a little bit lower than the Kona EV, that should charge faster than the Kona EV, because I say the Ioniq 5 is going to be able to do 800 volt charging, and so that'll give it much quicker charge capability. The leak also shows the dimensions, which seem a little off, so take this with a grain of salt. But it makes it seem like this vehicle is going to be huge, even though the 45 concept was pretty small, and the spy photos don't seem to make it look like it's going to be a behemoth. But the leak claims it's going to be 182.7 inches long on a 118.1 inch long wheelbase. It's going to be 74.4 inches wide and 63 inches tall. So to put that into perspective, this would make it longer than a Hyundai Tucson, and then almost as wide as a Hyundai Santa Fe. So we're talking about a pretty, large vehicle here, although it would be shorter than both of those. So, I mean, that's kind of where it makes sense. But we'll have to see if it ends up being that big or not. I was kind of expecting something more like the Kia Niro size. But anyway, the site also includes reservation details, which includes, the buyers can finalize their orders, and it reveals the date for when they can finalize those orders. It's going to be starting February 2nd, which means we should see a reveal before February 2nd or on February 2nd. Lastly, the site claims that the Austrian models will be reaching buyers by June or July. So it's coming pretty quickly, at least to Europe. And that's my biggest fear, is that this is going to be another vehicle that's just for Europe because their laws are stricter and they have a faster timeline for the EV thing. So everyone's just like, all right, let's hurry up and send all this stuff to Europe. Don't worry about America. They just want Hellcats and that's it. And so, I'm just kind of worried that we're not going to be getting all this cool, cutting edge stuff for a while. Maybe we will. We'll have to see. It just depends on how many, battery constraints they have and stuff. But fingers crossed we actually do get the Ioniq 5 here in the States. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, moving on. Another reveal we're going to get early next year is Volvo is going to be revealing an updated electrification roadmap, timeline kind of thing, and it's going to be supposedly including a new compact electric vehicle that'll be on the same platform as the XC40 Recharge EV that they have. And so the new model is going to supposedly be sleeker, according to an interview with Automotive News Europe that they did with Volvo's CEO. And so what they end up doing, it might not be anything as awesome as we're all hoping. Some people were hoping, maybe it could be like a new C30 or some version of like a V40 or something cool. But so he said it's going to be sleeker, but it might not be any cheaper. So that's why I think it's just going to be a variant of the XC40 possibly. Because in the interview, the CEO said, for Volvo to be profitable, we need to focus on higher price, more premium car segments. So it sounds like to me they're just going to do a coupe version of the XC40, kind of like the e-tron Sportback. You take the same basic vehicle, give it a sportier profile, and you try and market it as a new thing, and you make way more money. So, and you also sell it at a premium. So I think that would be exactly what they're going for here. We'll have to see if that's what they actually do or not with the Volvo. But I'm expecting some type of roof line, kind of similar to the Polestar 2, something like that, maybe on the XC40. We'll have to see. But anyway, that's going to be revealed in March. So we'll only have a couple more months to wait and see how that pans out. And for the last EV story this week, for those of you that are tired of the electric stuff, Mercedes has teased the infotainment for their EQS flagship electric sedan that they're coming out with here sometime next year. So the system that they're going to be using for the infotainment is called Hyperscreen, and they say it'll stretch across the entire width of the interior and be a curved screen. They haven't revealed any dimensions for it or anything like that, but that's kind of all the rage. Everyone's trying to rush to doing these, screens that take up the entire dashboard essentially. So at least the infotainment will be revealed on January 7th for the virtual version of CES that's happening in January. So I don't know if we're going to see the whole car there or just the infotainment or, what they end up deciding to do. But interesting to see that teaser, and we'll see more here in a couple of weeks. Autocar this week had an interview with the head of Mini about their work on developing the next generation Cooper. And so they revealed a couple interesting things. First was their motto was "Don't screw with an icon," and they said that they actually view it as their kind of Porsche 911, where they don't want to mess with the formula too much. They want to evolve it and improve it, but not spoil it and change the character of it. So they are planning on making substantial changes, though, and they say, what you'll see in 2023 is that we've clearly modernized it by taking a big step, the biggest step in the last 20 years, but it will be unmistakably Mini. So they didn't give too many details about, how that's going to materialize, but they did say that it's going to be smaller. So that's exciting news, and I would love to see, I don't know how much smaller they're going to get it. I don't think it's going to be, as small as the original Mini. But even if they got it back to R53 dimensions, I think that would be really awesome. And they always have the four-door versions now, too. So I think if people want a usable back seat, give them the four-door version. Have the two-door version, have a useless back seat, but have it be a cool little two-door. I think that'd be really awesome. But yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how that develops. But I'm just glad they're doing a new one because they don't, sell a ton of them, even in Europe, I don't think. And there was talks that there was it was up in limbo. And so the fact they're actually going forward with a new one is great. And I'm excited to see what they reveal in 2023. A couple of retro vehicles this week that are not going to be getting a new version are the Fiat 124 Spider and the Fiat 500L. So FCA confirmed on Wednesday that neither is going to be returning for the 2021 model year. And it is really sad because I personally thought the 124 was awesome. I reviewed both the regular version and the Abarth, and They're both a lot of fun. And for a while there, it was kind of a little bit of a better value than the Miata because you get more discounts on the Fiat. You had a turbo engine in a Miata, which is what a lot of people always said they wanted, but yet they didn't actually end up buying it. And so, it just turned out to be something that kind of sat around a little bit, and I don't think it did as well sales-wise as Fiat had hoped it would. And then especially if you had the Abarth version with the Mopar Monza exhaust, it was clearly the best sounding Miata-based vehicle there's ever been, I think, aside from like V8 swapping one or something. It was a really awesome sound, and it's kind of a shame that it never, did more sales. But then, in 2019 with Mazda improving the engine of the Miata so much and making the Miata just amazing with that new engine. Even personally, I was kind of camp 124 before the 2019 Miata, and then once the 2019 Miata came out, I was like, oh, this engine's so much better. Because the problem with the 124 was the engine had a very narrow power band. So you had from like $4,000 to $6,000 where it really would take off, and everywhere else it kind of felt a little dead. So that was the only thing. I'm sure that could be fixed with a tune, but it was cool though for people who wanted a turbo Miata. You had that choice, and now they seem like they're depreciating faster than ND Miatas are as well. So there's probably a bargain to be had there, in the used car market as well for a good long while. But so that's sad. And then the 500L is a model that I'm sure most people aren't going to miss. It never really did super well here in the States. The only 10 minutes of fame that it had were that it was the Pope Mobile, and there's a little bit of popularity around that, and then that fizzled out quick, and then that was the end of it. I don't think anyone's going to miss that. But this means that Fiat's only model they have now is the 500X. That's it. And I reviewed one of those a few years ago. They're fine, but to me, I'm bummed about, we already lost the 500, the regular 500 earlier this year, and they said there's not going to be a new 500 here in the States. They're doing that just for Europe. And so, it's just kind of a bummer that Fiat's kind of languishing away here. And my guess, now that there's the new Stellantis merger and, Peugeot is joining the fray, I think that what we'll see, in my opinion, is that Fiat will leave the States and they will be replaced by Peugeot. And that's, kind of how the dealership thing is going to play out possibly. And, and I think that would make sense because Peugeot they have a ton of really good models that I think would be good fits for America here. And Fiat just they always were, more for the smaller stuff, at least the stuff that was offered here in the States. So I think that was kind of their little downfall. But we'll have to see what plays out. For now, Fiat is still alive and available in the United States. We'll see how much longer that happens, though. Another vehicle that was discontinued this week, this is thanks to a dealer source last week that sent me in this information, and then it was later confirmed by Mercedes to the drive, is that Mercedes is discontinuing the AMG GT R. Now, so Tuesday, the 29th of December here is the last day to order one before the order banks close. So that is sad. The GTR is really awesome, but you still have the regular AMG GT. And the reason why the AMG GTR is going away is because there's the new Black Series version, which even though it's much more expensive and even more hardcore, that's going to be the one that they're marketing and pushing towards. And so I guess they feel like they don't need the middle ground of the GTR. It's just because the AMG GT, the regular version, got a huge boost in power this year and stuff. So, I think they're going to kind of bridge the gap with that. And so that's going to be kind of how they're going forward with that. But so the GTR wasn't around long, but it was pretty awesome from everything I've heard. I've only driven a regular AMG GT, so I have no clue about the R version, but it sounded like it was pretty sweet. And the last news story this week, and the last news story of 2020, is that another vehicle is being discontinued, and it is the Toyota Land Cruiser. Officially, Toyota confirmed it is leaving the U.S., but I guess it might maybe live on this next model year in the rest of the world as well. But leaving the U.S. here after the 2021 model year. And supposedly a next generation version will be coming soon, though. And even though Toyota, they officially told Road and Track, we remain committed to the large SUV segment and will continue to explore future products that celebrate the Land Cruiser's rich off-road history. We encourage loyal enthusiasts and intrepid adventurers to stay tuned for future developments. So that's not, confirming anything, but that certainly means they're not just taking off and forgetting about the segment. They are probably going to do something new. The Land Cruiser's, I think, too beloved to have it, just kind of evaporate, especially in other parts of the world. But I mean, especially even here in the States, the amount of fervently loyal people that love the Land Cruiser, I experienced firsthand whenever I posted my review a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, dealers have told Car and Driver that the next generation will be sold in the United States and will be way more modern and luxurious while still having impressive off-road capability. So that sounds great to me. And I got a bunch of crap in the comments whenever I suggested this in my Toyota Land Cruiser video. Beth and I both were like, for $90,000, this thing needs to be more luxurious and modern, and they can still do that and still have it be very tough and reliable and last for the next 100 years and, you know, be able to scale them out or whatever people do with their Land Cruisers. But everyone in the comments was like, no, it's perfect the way it is. Toyota loves selling 511 cars every quarter, and it's totally fine and stuff. Clearly, Toyota seems like they're kind of redeeming me here a little bit because, you know, if the rumors are to be believed, the new version will be more modern, more luxurious, and justify the $90,000 price tag while still being awesome off-road, which is all I was suggesting in my video when everyone tried to rip my head off in the comments. So it was just kind of funny. It's just the nature of YouTube comments. That's just the way it goes sometimes. But a lot of loyal Land Cruiser fans I've learned firsthand. And so, but yeah, it sounds like Toyota kind of maybe agrees with me a little bit, and you know, they'll be improving the new Land Cruiser to actually match its $90,000 price tag. But yeah, so that's it for all the news stories this week and the last news story here of 2020, like I said. So I hope you all have a very happy and healthy holiday season here and a great week. And I will see you guys for the first weekly update of 2021 here on New Year's Day. Until then, thank you guys very much for watching. Please let me know your thoughts and everything in the comments below. And I hope you guys continue to stay safe and healthy. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Take care.